All right, I want to, of course, start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the gospel of this truth. Today's video is going to be entitled America is Rome 2.0. Okay, now we went over this before, but the Spirit just jumped on me to do it once again. Because you see, there's a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a false doctrine going around. Because people simply don't understand the scriptures. You got guys out there, which I know many of them myself, who they're out there saying that that Rome over in Italy is Babylon the Great, because they know that when it mentions Babylon or the beast in Revelation, which we know it as a dragon as well, it's referring to the Roman Empire. But you had to understand that America is the modern day Roman Empire in order to truly understand the scriptures. Because if you're coming in this with a mindset that, yeah, Rome is Babylon, but you're saying that, the actual ancient Rome, which is over in, near Italy, if you're saying that that's Babylon, well, now you have a false mindset and you clearly don't understand the scriptures, because you have to understand that America is the modern day Roman Empire. So I'm going to play a little video after I'm done reading my stuff, just to show even more evidence to support my statement. Okay, anyway, this is Revelation 13th chapter. We'll start at verse 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon." Yeah, the two horns like a lamb are referring to the Democrats and the Republicans, because in the Roman Empire, you had two groups of people. You had the Flavians and the patricians, and basically they were just, they do the same thing that the Democrats and the Republicans do today, because the Roman Empire was the first empire to come out with a political system where people can vote in a elected ruler. Okay, other civilizations, they did not follow that. Um, they'd have it to where, the king would die, then his son would take his throne from the father, and then it would go on, so on and so forth. And that's why most kings, they'd rather have sons than to have daughters, because they'd have to pass their throne unto their sons, not their daughters. But that's another subject in itself. But anyway, um, yeah, the two horns like a lamb are referring to the Democrats and the Republicans. And he spoke as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and he caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Now the first beast was referring to the Roman Empire, and his deadly wound was that the Roman Empire got taken over and is not in power anymore. As in, you can go over to ancient Rome and you can see it. They're shit now. They don't really, they're not on any type of power level. Yeah, so they were wounded to death, as the scriptures say. They were taken down. That's why when you read what is that? Revelation, I believe it's the 17th chapter. It says that the beast who was, he was not, but he yet is. Even he is the eighth and is of the seventh, because the beast that was and was not was the Roman Empire. But then they came back once again as the United States of America. Okay, it's not talking about actual Rome over in Italy. That's not what it's talking about. And that's why you have these idiots out here that want to talk all kinds of shit and say that the Vatican's Babylon. And they clearly have no intelligence of the subjects that they speak of. Okay, I mean that's just come on. I mean, I'd rather believe that hell is a real place before I subscribe to such stupidity, which hell is not a real place, by the way. Anyway, let's see. Says, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Now, what is that talking about? That's talking about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the Second World War. Okay, that's what it's talking about. And you can just do your research on it. Matter of fact, the bomb exploded. According to evidence I've looked at, they say that the bomb actually exploded on top of the city. Um, so if that's the case, well, then they quite literally had fire come down from the sky. And even if it did hit ground zero and exploded, and actually hit the earth and exploded, well, that still fits the same description. All right. Let's see. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live. The beast that had a wound by the sword was the Roman Empire, and now they made an image to the first beast, which is the American the American way of life, and we're going to show that. And again, we already addressed it. The image is referring to the political system. In the Roman Empire, you had the way that they would vote in their kings and the rulers. It's by having votes with the Flavians and the patricians. And now you have the Democrats and the Republicans that do the exact same thing, just under a different name, to bring in a ruler the same way they did it in the Roman Empire. They'd have a Senate, and it even mentions this in the Apocrypha. It mentions that the Romans, they had a Senate and how they, elected the rulers. You can just look that up yourself to read it, because I don't got the book with me. But it's mentioned in the Apocrypha as well. And it's just it's historical fact. It is historical fact that that's what happened. You could just look it up if you don't already know it. Let's see. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and calls, that as many as would not worship the image of the beast, that they should be killed. Right, now that's talking about their political system, because let's say, for an example, I don't know, if you go out in this society, and let's just say, for an example, this happens sometimes, a man finds out that his wife is cheating on him by sleeping with another man. So the man is so enraged by finding this out that he decides to kill the woman and the man that she is sleeping with. And keep in mind, the woman and the man knew that the woman was in a relationship with this man, that got so enraged that he decided to kill the woman and the adulterer. Okay? Now, you ask these average peons out here who claim they know the scriptures, you ask them, well, what should happen to that man who got enraged and killed those two people? What should happen to him? And they'll say, well, I mean, he should be, either locked up in prison for life, or some people might say he should be killed. And why is that? Because they're responding with how they were brought up in this society. But you know what the Bible says about that? The Bible applauds the man who did that. You know why? Because that woman and that man that she slept with, that was adultery right there, because they both knew that this woman was in a relationship with another man. So according to the Holy Book, both those people should have been put to death. So the Holy Scriptures. But in this society, they'll lock that man up for life or give him the death sentence for putting two what's the word I'm looking for? Adulterers to death, which the Bible promotes that. Another example, if you go out and kill a faggot in this society, whether it be a homosexual or a lesbian, the odds are you're going to get the death sentence for putting one of them to death, because it's labeled as a hate crime. But according to the Holy Book, Leviticus 20 and 13, thou shalt surely put a faggot to death. All right? But again, you Americans are bullshit, man. You guys don't really go off these scriptures. This isn't your book to begin with. First of all, you have to be a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in order to receive salvation to begin with. So if you don't go back to one of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, well, you're a lost cause. You really can't receive salvation. Let's see. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell except he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here's wisdom, let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Yeah, that's what that's referring to, that mark on the right hand or on the forehead. That's referring to the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast in the book of Revelation. And you can just look it up. Just look up radio frequency identification device, short for or I should say, what it basically means is RFID microchip. Just look that up, and you'll see what we're talking about. That's what that's talking about. Let me just get something here in Revelation, the 17th chapter. And as I said, man, Christians don't really break this down the way we do. Okay, let's see. Okay, Revelation 17:7, it says, And the angel said unto me, Wherefore dost thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carries her, which have the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. Now the beast of Revelation is referring to, this particular one is referring to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the European Union. Okay, which it says that the whore, which is America, that she rides upon it because America is part of the I believe it's the I believe America is part of NATO, if I'm not mistaken. All right, but you can just look it up. So America is upon this beast, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay, let's see. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Oh, this is referring to America now. Let's read this slower. It says, and the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now, let's stop there for a second. Okay, the beast that thou saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Yeah, this is referring to the Roman Empire, which is now referring to America, because they were in rulership, they were not, they fell out of power, and then they came back once again. The bottomless pit is referring to Europe, all right, which the mother of Babylon, if you read, what is that, Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, I believe it's the 12th verse, it says that your mother, she shall be sore confounded. She that bore you, she shall be ashamed. And that's referring to Great Britain. And Great Britain is actually mentioned here, and I believe we're going to get the verse in just a second here, and the ones I got highlighted here. Let's see. It says, yeah, and shall go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth, they shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and he yet is. And here's the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now, again, it's funny here, because we'll read this and say, well, see, it has to be Rome, because Rome is known as the city of 7 hills. And again, this chapter was set here to be a stumbling block, man. Okay? The scriptures tell you the deceived and the deceiver are his. All right? So the Lord got some people in this trick bag with this breakdown here, man, because there's over 100 breakdowns out here of this chapter. Okay? But what is this referring to? Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I shall... matter of fact, let's even go ahead and get that, since I haven't got it in a while. So a little bit rusty with it. But I wanted to get it since it's such a good verse to prove my statement. Okay. Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I'm against thee, O destroying mountain, says the Lord, which destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee. I roll thee down from the rocks. It will make thee a burnt mountain. Right. So let's go back here. Right. So we see that hills and mountains can be referring to governments. Okay? And nations. Okay. Yeah, so the seven mountains are talking about seven kingdoms, which just goes into, NATO. Let's see. And and there are seven kings, five are fallen, the one is, and the other is not yet come. Now the other that is not yet come is referring to Great Britain. Um, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was not, and he, or Slocky, let's read that again. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eight, and is of the seven, and goes into perdition. Yeah, so the beast that was and is not, again, let's talk about Rome, but is now referring to America in this time. But it came out of the seventh, because the seventh is Great Britain. So if you know history, the Christopher Colombo, he came out of Britain. All right. So America was founded off of Great Britain. Okay, it's very simple to understand. So they clearly got it correct here. Let's see. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings, 1 hour with the beast. And these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called chosen and faithful. But yeah, that's going into another topic there. So pretty much that's all I wanted to get, and that America is Rome 2.0. Now, as I said, I'm going to play a little video clip for you. I just wanted to show this. Let's see. Okay. I hope it shows up good for you on the screen, but I'll just play a little bit of this. Just to show some similarities between the United States of America and the ancient Roman Empire. All right, and some of these are just it shows you, man, that America really is the modern day Roman Empire, man. There's I'd say a good 20 of them on here that show the similarities. Right, the Senate, as I mentioned earlier. Right, sports, wrestling, as even showed that earlier, the sports arena, mentioned that as well earlier. So pretty much we could end the video there, and it clearly just proves the point. There you go. I believe the goddess there is Ishtar, if I'm not mistaken. You can look it up for yourself. But you see there, as I said, man, it's just too many similarities between the two. Just undeniable at this point.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past.
Pretty much I'll stop the video there. I hope that was an edifying lesson for you, Akim. If anybody made it this far, put a hashtag ETT in the comment section down below. If that being said, I of course want to say shalom.